I would love you to join me in my free 5-day social media challenge for equestrians over on Facebook. There will be a link in the show notes, but if you want to DM me, please do, and I will send you the link. This is a 5-day free Facebook challenge run via Facebook group, where each day there will be a theme to follow for your Facebook or Instagram, or both, post. The day before there'll be a video talking through some ideas, and there'll be a workbook too. As I said, it's completely free to join. It's running for the first week in February 2020 from the 3rd to the 7th, and I would love you to be part of it. You can also have a look if you fancy it and find the group yourself. It's called Social Supercharge Equestrian, and it says it's a social media 5-day challenge. So come on over, join in. I'll say it one more time, it's completely free and it should be really, really fun. A great way to help kickstart your social media out of season and also meet some really, really cool people. The community over there is amazing. Hope to see you there. So on today's Smaller Supercharged podcast, it's actually not a remote recording. I am sat in the very lovely kitchen of Megan Elphick.
That's the one.
There we go. Who you might know better as Elphick Event Ponies.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Tell us a bit about you, Megan, just in case people don't know. I mean, obviously, your followers will get to hear this as well because it'll be everywhere. But tell us all a bit about you.
So I am a 23-year-old equestrian, I guess. I've recently graduated from university in Liverpool, and I'm sort of in this limbo phase between getting a real job and playing with horses the rest of my life. I do a bit of amateur eventing, sort of up to 100 level. I don't really want to do like big stuff.
Okay.
Up to novice is my aim, but yeah, that's just kind of me.
Okay. And how long have you been playing with horses, in your words? Not mine.
Probably since I was about 3. I think I started riding my friend's pony, and then we bought our first pony. We actually bought her pony off her when I was about 4, I believe. Is that right, Mum?
Yep, that's right. A little pony called Barney.
Looking for approval from Mum over there.
Yes, we have also got Megan's mum. I don't actually know. I've asked your name.
Jeanette.
Of course, you introduced yourself. I'm an idiot. Lol, cut that bit out.
She's better known as Hobbit.
Are you?
That's what people on Instagram and YouTube will know her as.
Yes, it's an endearing term because I'm shorter than Meg. I think.
I didn't know that. Okay. That's nice. So your first pony was called Barney?
Yeah. Really sweet. Was he Welsh?
I think he probably was Welsh,
About 11.
He didn't have any papers.
11-2 maybe.
Yeah.
Little grey pony. Yeah,
Full of character.
He was perfect. He was steady and nice.
And then it all just got out of hand.
It snowballed.
It really did. Here we are, how many years later with 10 horses in the field and no job opportunities.
So in addition to obviously riding, you produce as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's sort of my passion, I guess you could say. I like producing young horses and sort of ponies mainly, I guess. I just kind of connect with ponies, I think. And they're a bit easier to come across and to produce and make a bit of money on. But I've kind of always done it since a young age. We didn't really get a lot of sort of school mastery types. I had several really nice ponies on loan when I was younger. But then we kind of just bought younger ponies to produce just because it was cheaper to buy, really. You can't really get a pony that's going to do a metre show jumping for a reasonable amount of money unless it's 4 or 5 and you've got to put the work in.
Because you're quite tall.
Yeah, about 5'6", I think, just if I sort of stand up straight, I'm 5'6".
So your ponies at the almost horses?
They tend to be 14.2 plus. I mean, a lot of them are over 15 hands, but I just call them ponies.
Okay.
Because they're Connemara's or Welshes.
Oh, Connemara's are brilliant, aren't they? Such a good breed.
They are good.
And they do lovely crosses as well, don't they? You can obviously get...
Oh, Connemara crosses, absolute favourite. But they're so hard to come by.
Good, yeah, absolutely.
No one sells them.
There you go, opportunity there. There you go, that's your opportunity. So, what made you start using social media?
It was a weird one. I always had a social media account for my horses, mainly because it's not really that cool to have loads of horsey pictures on your Instagram while you're at sixth form. So I kind of set up a separate account, didn't tell my friends about it so that I could fulfill my horsey posting needs without anyone
Without
seeing.
annoying all your friends.
Yeah. But then, bizarrely, I actually lost my first account. It was on like 5,000 followers, I think, and I ended up losing it while I was on holiday.
Oh.
And then I went for a while without a horsey account. I was like, I don't need one. You know, I'm 18 now. I'm cool enough to not have one. And then I went to uni, and first year of uni, I was just really struggling not seeing the horses every day. And it was kind of this sort of outlet for me. I started another account so I could be around horsey people and like talk to horsey people and post horsey things. Because I was in a flat with 6 other people that had probably never even touched a horse in their life.
Yeah, because you went to uni in Liverpool, didn't you?
Yeah.
So it was a long way from home. It was 3.5 hours.
Gosh. Yes, so it's not even like you can pop back for a horsey fix, is it?
No,
That's quite a way.
That's kind of why I started the new account, and it just kind of rolled from there, really, and yeah, got bigger and bigger.
So your aim really was to connect with horsey people through the account, which I imagine is a lot of what you do.
Yeah.
But you've grown quite a following as well on... Are you just on Instagram? I know you from Instagram.
Instagram and YouTube, I do all the vlogging.
Of course, YouTube, yeah, sorry.
And then I've got a Facebook account, but I don't really
You
like
definitely
Facebook
focus
that
more
much.
on Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah.
So what point did it start to get bigger and bigger and you thought, actually, this is quite a thing?
Probably this year, really. It was sort of when I qualified barefoot badminton at the end of 2018. That was when I kind of decided, like, right, I want a bit of support from brands now, because I knew it was going to be like a long road getting there, and I'd need extra training and like extra help.
And that was the grassroots.
Things. That was the grassroots at badminton. And I felt I was in a better position then to approach a brand because I had this big thing I was aiming for. So that's when I started approaching brands, and I got Shires and the Pure Feed Company just from sending out emails. And then with that came the contracts. So they sort of wanted me to get onto YouTube and do some vlogs in the lead up to badminton. So I did that. It sounds bad blaming it on the contract, but that was kind of what pushed me into doing it. I always wanted to do it, but I was a bit nervous to do it.
Sometimes we need a push. I think sometimes, you can think, oh, that might be a good idea, but, and then the whole, often the self-doubt comes in, doesn't ever, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I haven't done this before. But if you get that kick, it can sometimes be all you need.
Yeah, exactly. And it made me feel better about doing it, because if people took the mick out of me, I could just be like, oh, well, I'm doing it for my brands that I'm working with.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was kind of helped me in the first couple of months doing it, and it gave me a reason to justify it. And then it just completely switched. I just absolutely loved doing it, and I really got into it. And I was like, actually, I'm doing this for me now rather than for the brands. And I think getting into YouTube was what sort of sparked it. They helped each other. Then Instagram and YouTube just kind of grew from there, I think.
So on your Instagram, how many followers have you got, obviously at time of recording this?
I think 23,000.
And what's your subscribers on YouTube?
I think about 15,000.
Okay, brilliant. And how long have you had when did you go to Badminton Grassroots? Was it last year?
That was last May, yeah.
Right, okay. So you haven't actually had your YouTube for that long at all?
No, I've had YouTube for a year.
Which is amazing. That's an incredible following.
Yeah, it did go up really quickly. Tell you what helped was falling off at badminton. People loved that. I do think that was the making of me.
Not to be recommended. Don't throw yourself off the horse at badminton.
She didn't think that at the time.
No, but looking back, possibly the best thing that ever happened. No, I'm joking. I would have rather got round. But I think people were suddenly like, oh, I can relate to this girl, because if I'd gone to badminton and I'd won and it had all been perfect Nankadori, people would be like, well, that doesn't really happen. That's not happening to me. But going all that way, and like I built up so much on social media, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. It's been my dream for 10 years.
Which was true.
Which was all true.
Yeah.
To fall off at fence 9 and sit on the floor of badminton crying, I think people were like, yes, I can relate to that girl.
But relatability is such a big thing on social.
Oh, definitely.
We see so many of these feeds where people show their absolutely beautifully polished life, and in any sector, you see people with beautifully gleaming white horses in the middle of winter, and my piebald looks like a mudball at the moment. And you kind of think, oh, I'm doing something wrong.
Yes.
Or, you see mummy bloggers and their kids are absolutely squeaky clean, and mine are literally colouring themselves in chalk. Yeah, their kitchens are immaculate. They don't have mud on their boots. And you think, when you see so much of it, I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So showing that relatable side, we do all get decked in slightly embarrassing places.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Well, I think early on, Meg decided that she was going to show the true story.
Yeah.
Sort of warts and all. So we've tried to be quite disciplined, and it hasn't been easy, I have to say. When things go wrong, the last thing either of us want to do
is expose it all on social media.
But we've been sort of quite disciplined about doing that, and I think it's been very hard for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is challenging, but then it is really rewarding, because especially because I produce so many young horses, and I think it's really important to show the horrible phases you go through with them, because there are so many, and they are like, you just want to bang your head against a wall and you feel so useless. And that's after I've done it for 15 years, sort of, on and off. So I think it's important to show that young horses do have these horrible phases, because so many times you see these 4-year-olds like trotting around perfect on the bit, and it's like, oh, they did their first double clear today, and my 4-year-old's got its head stuck in the air and like feels horrible. So I think it's important that people see that they do go through that phase, because these perfect ones will still be going through that phase. It's just not shown.
No, 100%. I know when we backed Goo, and we did him ourselves, which was a mistake. But I've worked with horses properly before, and I've worked with horses that we have backed, and they've had their blips, but Goo just like to combine them all into one amazing, horrific month. But again, you look at people and they're like, oh, well, I started my horse yesterday and it's doing this. And you're like,
now it's qualified for badminton.
Yeah, and you're like,
go away. No, it's not.
My horse was doing really well on the lunge. Now he's decided he's never been lunged before.
Yeah.
And it does make you feel like I must be doing something wrong.
Yes, it does.
Because you say, this horse is trotting around on the bit with its rider and it looks really comfortable. And mine is doing an impression of a giraffe.
Yeah.
So I think it is important, even though it is, you don't want to show that side.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of...
It is important though, because...
Definitely.
Yeah, too much of social media is just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
Just showing your best bits,
Yeah.
That's not really reality.
So when you grew both your subscribers on YouTube and Instagram, how did that sort of change what you were doing for you? Did it change your relationship with them both? Did it change the way that people viewed you?
I feel like I was quite sort of late to the party, because I kind of was just, moseying along happy as Larry, not really realising that there was quite a large following and quite a few people that were sort of looking up to me. And it was when these like fan pages started to arise, and I was like, how can you be a fan? Like, I'm just like doing my everyday thing. And then I kind of realised, actually, I've got this really lovely group of people that are sort of following my everyday life. And then I was kind of like, oh, okay. I put a lot more sort of thought into what I posted.
Has it kind of changed the way that you view the content you produce, or you monitor what you say, or has it changed any of that, or not?
I'd like to think that I'm still sort of pretty authentic. Obviously, there's things that I'd bite my tongue with, and you've just got to worry about like offending people. Like, I'm quite disciplined, or I've got quite strong thoughts on what tack I use on my horses. Like, I like it to be very plain. I'd rather just ride in a snaffle sort of when I can. But you don't want to be saying things like that and then putting other people down that aren't like that, because it's not saying there's anything wrong with other people doing other stuff. But I think you have got to be careful with how strongly you put across your opinions, so as not to influence people in like a negative way, because I don't want to just create this following of sheep that are doing what I'm doing, because it probably won't work for their horses. Like, it's got to be individual to their horse.
And I think the thing as well, if you've got a really devoted following and you're telling them that actually you ride in a snaffle and why you do, there is the potential perhaps for them to have that as the gospel and think less about people that don't.
Well,
but without knowing that, without having that, well, this is why I do it, and I've tried these things, it doesn't work, without having that kind of background, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the last thing I want, is for people to be like, oh, well, Megan only rides in snaffle, which I don't only ride in snaffle all the time. That's just my that is my preferred option. That's what I work towards with all my horses. It doesn't always go to plan. You know, Lara cannot go cross country in a snaffle. She would kill me. Yes. So please, people listening, don't think you need to go and throw out all your stronger bits and put all your horses in a snaffle, because that's not the case at all. But it's things like that that maybe I've mentioned, and then I get people coming to me like, oh, well, I put my horse in a snaffle and it bolted off with me, and I'm like, no, like, just because I've said I like snaffles.
Yeah.
So, like, it's things like that you've sometimes just got to bite your tongue and think, okay, word this differently, like, make sure you're posting both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to be sort of as authentic as I can be. Like, I don't want to be scared to post something because of the backlash. Like, I want to just come across as myself, really, and my thoughts.
Yeah, because I mean that's what's grown the following. That's what's grown your following and your fans is you being yourself, and it's really important, I think, to maintain that.
Yeah, definitely.
Although I think it could also be quite easy to not to be moulded and to let the situation and the fact that, you know, you are now seen as an influencer. I mean, we're going to talk about that you're Olympia and things like that. I think it's celebrity status in our area, and I think when people get the spotlight shone on them a lot more, it can be easier to be moulded into perhaps something that you don't want to be. Yeah,
definitely. And obviously if you're following a lot of these big accounts, which I do, like, I really like a lot of big accounts, it's hard to not follow them too closely and end up like producing their content, because that's obviously not what you want to do. But like you said, it's easy to get wrapped into, oh, well, they do that, and like that's the mold of like a good influencer, so you should be producing that kind of content. So yeah, sometimes I do just have to check myself and be like, wait, is that something that I would have posted 2 years ago, or is that something I'm posting now because I know like it's going to be a good way of getting followers or interactions?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a tricky one. So the positives of having an account that's grown to your level.
I'd say there's definitely more positives than negatives. Like, it is just a surreal feeling, and I absolutely love having 20-odd thousand people backing me and like wanting to message me and always supporting me. It is just lovely to have those people behind you. And obviously it's opened so many doors for me. Like, I've sort of got 4 brands that I'm working with now and a 5th potentially on the way.
So who are the 4? Give them a shout out.
So I've got Shire's Equestrian, I've got the Pure Feed Company, I've got Horse Quest and NKC Equestrian Training.
Lovely.
So they're all just absolutely amazing. I have to pinch myself working with them because they're so kind and generous, and they're always there for me. And if ever I've got this weird idea that I want to do something, I'll just email one of them and they'll be like, yes, like, I love that, let's make a video for that, or like, I'll send you this so you can do that. So that's been incredible, and obviously I'd never have had that opportunity if I didn't have the following, because that's sort of what brings brands to accounts, I guess.
And Olympia's one, because you did a meet and greet.
I did a meet and greet at Olympia, yeah.
Was that the first one you'd done?
It was the first meet and greet I'd ever done. I'd been sent to events before, so Bramham were kind enough to invite me there to vlog. But it was the first time that I'd been like as a guest, I guess, because they were sort of promoting me up to the event, and it was weird. We were treated like celebrities, like we were ushered in.
We had a fantastic day.
Yeah.
Really
Which
fantastic.
day did you?
The Thursday.
And when was your slot?
So I had like the slot between the afternoon and the evening, so people could sort of overlap, so it didn't matter what performance they'd booked for. It was just crazy. Honestly, I can't explain how weird it felt sort of walking around having people coming up and taking pictures, because when you're behind your phone it doesn't feel as real, you don't see all those faces, but when they're coming up to you it's like, oh my god, you exist, like, hi, thank you for...
So how was your day? So you went through the back entrance.
We got shown around the stabling, which was really lovely.
Isn't that a restricted area as well? Yeah.
Yes, we couldn't go into the FEI part because that's very restricted. Royalty of God, I think they said.
Well, next year.
No, we got to meet all the Shetlands who partake in the Shetland
and
Grand
Santa's
National,
horses.
and Santa's horses, and the cavalry horses, didn't we? And
they're stunning, aren't they?
Oh, that was amazing. So that was really special. And then sort of walking around, meeting lots of fans, which was lovely, and the mums.
Oh yeah.
And having a chat to them, we really enjoyed that. And of course, we were both given a gift from Hi Ho Silver.
Yeah,
which was
that was so cool.
Was really generous of them.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing day. And then obviously just watching all the performances.
So how did your meet and greet go then? What was the kind of, I didn't go to Olympia, so what sort of form did it take, and how many people came? And
I didn't count, but hundreds, if not
significant.
thousands.
Millions of people turned. That's exciting.
There was a nice amount of people that it didn't feel uncomfortable that I shouldn't be there. Because that was my main worry was leading up to. I was like, what if no one turns up? What if no one turns up? And then walking around before the meet and greet, all these people coming up to me, and then I was like, Mum, what if loads of people turn up? Like, that might be worse.
She was very nervous.
I was panicked.
Either way, either way.
Yeah. So we didn't really know what the format was. Initially, I was meant to be going before Life on Earth Rain and EDM Eventing. Emily and Tina, basically. Yeah. But then they sort of decided, actually, they'll give us a bigger slot and just merge it all together.
Okay.
None of us had done it, so we sort of thought safety in numbers. And we kind of just went up there and started taking some questions. We didn't have a microphone or anything at this time because they were doing an interview in the stables. And so we started sort of like getting people to shout out questions. And then it really took off. So then they made like an emergency call, like, get the microphone here, get the interviewer here. Yeah. So he like comes running in halfway through and starts doing like proper questions, like interviewing us and getting questions from the crowd. So that was really nice. And there was like, they were just such down to earth questions, and it was just really nice to sit and talk about like my horses and like the aims for the year and stuff like that. And then they sort of had the opportunity to come up and get pictures. I signed things, which just was weird. I was like, don't know what to sign, like what to say. Yeah, it was amazing. I really, really enjoyed it. And I've actually got another one booked now. I don't think I can say where it is yet.
But it'll be this year, will it? 2020?
It's definitely this year.
Yeah.
It's
in May.
It's at a completely undisclosed location this year in May.
Space.
Watch
possibly
this space.
the moon.
Possibly the moon in May.
No, it'll be more accessible than the moon.
But obviously you'll announce that on your Instagram
Yeah.
and on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people can find out there. That's exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. It really, gave me a big buzz. It was just so nice meeting everyone and actually putting faces to account names as well, because some of the account names I knew and I'd been sort of like chatting with for years.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's you. Like, it's really nice.
No, that must be really nice, especially if people have followed you for a long time along your journey,
definitely.
to get that chance to meet them, and that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So obviously they're the highs. Going to bring it down now.
Nice, bring it down a level.
Have there been any negatives of having such a big account, being in the public eye, anything like that?
There definitely have been. Like, I don't want to sit and complain about it because, like I said, there's definitely more positives than there are negatives. So
maybe not negatives, maybe need a different word. Maybe not so positives. There we go.
Not so positives.
Not so positives. Because I know negative does sound like it's a horrific thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe things you didn't expect, perhaps.
I think the amount of work.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a shock. And it's sort of just built up and up and up from, as the followers go up, it comes with more work. And obviously the vlogging is a massive amount of work.
Yeah.
Having to film these videos and sort of always have this sort of positive front on. Like, sometimes I'll go to an event and it'll go rubbish, and all I want to do is just be like, it was absolutely awful. But you've always sort of got to have this positive spin at the end. Like,
what did you learn? Or
yeah, exactly. So sometimes that's kind of hard because it wasn't necessarily something that I used to do. But then at the same time, you could definitely look at that as a good thing, because I actually am sitting and reflecting on things that go bad rather than just being like, that was rubbish, close the book kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of work that comes with it. Obviously, there are like a few nasty comments and nasty messages that you get sent. I think that it just comes with having a big account, to be honest. I think the bigger account you get, the more you're going to get. But I would consider myself quite lucky with that, because I don't get loads. Like, I know some people just get message after message. And I think it's because, I'm a bit older than perhaps some of these other influencers, so it doesn't really get to me as much, and therefore people don't enjoy it as much because they like getting a reaction, don't they?
Yeah.
And I'm very open with it. I'm not one to be like, I don't know, I wouldn't sort of just sit in a corner and let it get me down. I'm very open with it. I'll be like, oh, today, guys, I got this message saying X, and like it was annoying, and then I'll explain why that's not the case, or like why perhaps they'd think that. And I think exposing it is what people don't really want. They don't want to be. Obviously, I wouldn't expose the person.
No, I know what you mean, but exposing the comment,
exposing the issue, and then perhaps other people that were going to send that message are like, oh, okay, it's not really worth sending that to her now.
Or also know that you will sort of call them out, not name them, but obviously rather than kind of go, oh, that's so painful and hurtful,
yeah,
you'll go,
exactly.
well, this happened, this is why it's rubbish, or this is my view on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move on.
Yeah, because I don't want to have this environment where people can like get under my skin, and I know it happens to so many other influencers, and it's just so unfair because, like you were saying earlier, we're just people at the end of the day. Like, I think sometimes you've got this sort of Instagram front on, and people think you're like this celebrity or like this robot, and it's like really not. Like, I just go about my everyday life doing things, put a load of work into this post it, to then get messages saying it's rubbish or like I'm doing this or that. It is really deflating. So I think it's important, that it doesn't just get swept under the carpet and you don't like let it get to you. You either speak to them about it, or you sort of speak to your following about it and be open with the fact that it does happen. It
is tricky though, because you obviously get the troll side of it, which are people that just downright unpleasant and hide themselves, and you get people who have got genuine questions perhaps, or and I think that it's all right to question people as long as you're respectful of them. If someone has got a question about something you've done or they disagree with it, I think that's one thing, because we can all have our own opinions, but it's how it's put across, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's, oh, I wonder why you were doing that, because I've never done that, rather than you're evil because it's very different. And I imagine the amount of DMs you get is pretty significant as well, isn't it?
The DMs, and I get hate for not replying to DMs, which is bizarre to me. Like, I had someone message me the other day being like, how come you can put a story up of this but you can't reply to my message? And I didn't say this back, but I felt like saying, well, the story goes out to 20,000 people, the message goes to one. Like, as much as I really want to be able to reply to all of these people, I physically can't. Like, there's probably 100 messages, if not more, a day. So I physically couldn't sit down and reply to all of those. So sometimes it's more beneficial to post a story than it is to reply to one message.
But also that is the kind of trade-off it is, because obviously a story is 15-second slots. You do a minute, that is about a minute of your time.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to add subtitles or add some GIFs or hashtags, it's maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you've read someone's detailed DM, thought about the response, and replied, that's probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, isn't it? And it's, if you've got 100 of those,
exactly,
that's a massive amount of time.
Oh, I couldn't do it if I tried to reply to every DM. I'd have no content to post because I'd be sat indoors typing.
And you probably couldn't have the time to do the horses.
No, exactly.
But it is that kind of, if you have got 100 and they take 10 minutes each. Yeah. I'm not doing maths today because it's Friday we're recording this, so
that's a lot of time.
You'll hear it on a Wednesday, but it's a lot of time.
Yes.
And that kind of takes away from what you're doing as well, because you're trying to speak to everybody, aren't you?
Exactly.
And provide content or help or encouragement, something, or relatability, or for the masses, not the individuals.
Yeah. No, I do, like, it's not saying I don't enjoy getting DMs, because I absolutely love it, and the fact that people take time out of their day to message me is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I do try my best to reply at some point. I mean, sometimes 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, it was a Shire's jacket I was wearing. Sorry for that. Sorry to take so long. But it's when people message me abuse for not replying, I literally have no tolerance for it. I'm just like, well, I'm not replying to you.
Well, no, you're doing your best.
Yeah, exactly. I just think, oh, sorry, let me write my essay out to you now after you've just sent me a bunch of hate for not replying. It's like, no, there's people I'd rather speak to now that have sort of been understanding of the situation.
No, completely. I completely relate to that. And what's it like for you having your kind of daughter in the spotlight?
It's been a big learning curve.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm that much older, and this is all very new to me. So a lot of it, I don't understand. I don't think I fully grasped what Meg was doing for
I don't think you do now.
A long time. No, But it's been really exciting, and of course, I've often been invited along to these events, and I've really enjoyed that. And I've loved meeting all the people, and the mums and grannies. So I've benefited hugely, and working with shires.
Yeah, it has been.
And the horse quest, they've all been
really good.
They've all been really, really supportive and fun. But sometimes I worry about the amount of pressure it's put on.
I think that's something we don't think about really, because if you have got all these DMs, you've got to put the content out, you've got to do this. There is a lot of pressure, isn't there?
There is a lot of pressure, and and I'm her mum.
Yeah.
And she's my priority. And tearing up, like doing.
I think she likes you. I think we can establish
It's
that.
taken 23 years, but she does in fact like her child.
I do, and I worry about her, But when she's been up until 2 a.m. before Christmas editing vlogs so they can go out the next day, I've thought, why is she doing this?
Yeah.
Because it's not something that I've been exposed to all the time. And I think the pressure at events.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
quite overwhelming.
Yeah, that can be, especially big things. Like I felt that she put herself under a tremendous amount of pressure going to grassroots badminton.
Okay.
And again this October for the qualifiers for next year. And I feel that actually detracts from.
So you mean actually not events that you kind of do meet and greets at,
No.
but physically when you go and
physically
compete?
eventing. Yes,
Yeah.
I feel that there's an extra layer
Okay.
of pressure. She gets a lot of DMs and messages, support messages beforehand. But then, of course, you feel as though you're letting this huge amount. So you put more pressure on yourself, which it's all meant really well.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. But it does mean that it's another
it has
layer
changed
of
the
pressure
competing.
that sometimes makes it less enjoyable.
No, I completely can see that. That's interesting as well, though, that it affects, it has an effect on what it's all about, really, on competing the horses
100%.
and moving that.
But I think because it's relatively new, and I think with time and experience, you've got to learn to put that aside, haven't you, and not think about it and not let it.
But I think it's hard, and I think that a lot of other influencers not in our space, and if you have a beauty influencer, well, if they're putting makeup on, they either do it right or they don't. And obviously I don't understand makeup, we all know this, if you're listening you know this, but it's not like if you're sat on the horse, you've got to be, it's a different animal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it is an animal, it's got a mind of its own that you're trying to not get stressed about. You get one shot at it. If you're doing a makeup tutorial and you smear God knows what all over your face, you just wipe it off and do it again. Yeah, you haven't got that is this one moment.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in horses, it's not a case of doing it right or doing it wrong. You can do it right, and the horse can still have a pole or still be like, nah, not today.
So nobody's explained to them about the accounts, have they?
They just don't. They're not on this at all. They just don't get it.
They're not interested.
No, it's like your horses don't care.
Ouch.
No, but I can understand that would be an extra pressure. Yeah. And when you're trying to actually be an athlete as well as an influencer. Yeah, I can completely see that. God. Yes, as you say, perhaps when it's more established, and again, there aren't many influencers in this space. I know we have got a few influencers in this space, but because the equestrian and rural industry is not usually at the forefront of things like influencers and that kind of thing, I think it's pretty busy with the horses. It is you're kind of forging new ground a bit.
Yeah,
and that can be difficult.
Feel like that. Yeah.
That can be difficult too, because you've really got to find your own way and make it work for you. Whereas there aren't a lot of people who you can go, well, actually, they were doing this 5 years ago. How did it work for them?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right.
And some of the people who are at the top of the sport don't really use social, or their PA does, or their a member of their team does. But
and
you
I
don't
can
see
understand
them.
why they don't really now, having sort of seen Meg's experience with it.
Yeah.
And it's very time consuming, of course. If you're at the top of your game, you probably haven't got time to.
No, it's the last thing in your mind, isn't it?
And I think as well, there's obviously the concern that if you do something wrong, if something is perceived to be wrong, and I think we can all think of lots of different examples, then it's not just you deal with whoever, an authority, a horse authority says you've done this wrong, you're disqualified or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got a whole world potentially of online hate about how you are this, that, and the other, and people see that snapshot taken either by an image taken or a second of a video when a horse is slightly overbent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You see someone using their whip on the horse in that second, but you don't see the fact that the horse needed a bit of correction to prevent. I'm not saying overuse of whip is okay, but I'm saying that we see these snapshots. Yeah,
exactly.
Yes, that's true.
Of sometimes the reaction rather than the thing that caused the reaction.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not saying that any kind of horse cruelty is okay, and we're not talking about that here.
No.
We're talking about, just these things that you see online and you think, God, that's not right. But you look and you think, hang on, that was a picture taken at an awkward point in a horse's movement.
Yeah.
And the horse doesn't look comfortable, but it was literally a split second. And actually the next second, when the horse has moved on, you wouldn't think, and if you were looking at it, you wouldn't question it.
Yeah.
But that can then cause this kind of swirling of online hate, which I think would also be pretty horrific to deal with when you're trying to do your job and you're trying to do the best.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
And you haven't done anything wrong, in some situations, but the way it's perceived is different.
Yeah, and it's sort of that added pressure as well. Like if I'm doing it as a career, it's like, oh my God, could that be the absolute end? If something like that happened, could I just lose all these followers overnight? And could that be the end of being able to sort of make any money through social media? So it does put a lot of pressure on. And then, like you said about whether you sort of, like how you restrict your content, it does always make you think twice. Is there any part of this that could be perceived really badly by even just one person? That's all it takes.
But then in terms of producing horses, actually documenting the horse's journey could be really, really positive from a selling point of view, because you can see the training it's received, the places it's been, the things you've done, the highs and the lows, and actually get a really nice overall picture of the horse you're buying, because we all know that horses have highs and lows, we just don't see them.
Absolutely. And I mean, how many horses can you go and see? Can you actually see a documented 6 or 12 months of them? But
you can't really.
I think the thing is for us, we've had horses for a long time, and they're like our family, and always their welfare comes first for us. And it, whatever happens with YouTube and Instagram, we'll still carry on
exactly.
loving our horses, doing our horses, because that's what we enjoy.
Well, that's how it all started, wasn't it? It wasn't like I started for social media.
And they're the end game. They're the important things to us.
Yeah.
And we always treat them, any horse that's here, we treat as our own.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful setup, I have to say. They're very lucky horses. and a very lucky collie, and a very lucky cat that's just rocked up as well. Well, the cat's all in. The cat's in this as well.
I want to take part too.
So if you are looking at other people who are asking you for advice, which I imagine you get a fair amount of, what would your sort of top tips be for people who want to become influencers, who want to, get sponsorship and things like that through social?
I think the biggest tip is just don't force it.
Okay.
Like you can see if accounts are completely forced and they're just doing things to get followers and to get likes. Because realistically, those ones don't last. Like people lose interest in them very, very quickly. I think the best way of doing it is just sort of doing it how I did really. Don't start the account with the intention of becoming an influencer. Start it because you love what you do, you like sharing images and videos of your horses, or whatever industry you might be in, and then if it grows, that's sort of like a bonus kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, just be prepared for a lot of work. Be prepared to sometimes get comments that aren't pleasant. Obviously, you're going to get hundreds of amazing ones, but with that, you're going to get the odd nasty one.
No, I think that's good though, because again, you don't want to set up an account and put all that work in just to become famous. There's got to be something there, because there's probably much easier ways to use your account to become famous and put in all this work as well. No, I think that's a really good thing. And the thing is, some people's objective on social is just to share what they're up to, and there's nothing wrong with that. If they just want to share their horses, they just want to connect with like-minded people and not become super celebrities or influencers, I think that's a really good thing to do too.
Yeah, I just think you're sort of setting yourself up to fail if you start up with the intention of getting famous or getting loads of followers. Like you said, it should be something that you love to do. You're sharing with all these amazing people, and then it will either sort of take off or it won't. But it doesn't matter either way, because if you're enjoying it, that's kind of the main thing.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Well, thank you very much. Tell us all the places we can find you.
All the places, okay. So my sort of tag is always going to be Elphick Event Ponies. So any social media, it will be called that. So there's Facebook, which I don't post loads to, but I know some people don't have Instagram. I'm looking at Mum now. We potentially... Anyway, I'm not going to say that. So people that don't have Instagram, I often will sort of put my Instagram posts onto Facebook. And then Instagram's the big one, so that's Elphick Event Ponies. There's also Elphick Event Ponies Outtakes, which is just like a smaller account for posting silly things. And there
is that all one word?
Yeah.
So Outtakes is just...
Yeah, just put on the end. And there is Adventures of Hobbit for people that want to follow Mum's progress. And then onto YouTube, it's just Elphick Event Ponies on there, and you can watch all my lovely vlogs.
Thank you very, very much for chatting to me today. I think it's been a really fab one.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Hope I've not made too many awkward mistakes.
No, not at all. Not at all.